Okay, so it has flagged her as interpretation mode. So you should be good to open up for attendees to join, and then I guess give it a minute or two for them to join in and then begin.
Okay, I hit start, so
Very good. Up, attendees are coming in. There you go.
good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining our virtual town hall meeting. We're going to give it about another 2 minutes just to allow anybody that is continuing to join us to get on the call before we get started. All right, good morning, everyone. We are going to get started. I want to thank you for joining our Facilities Master Plan Town Hall meeting this morning. My name is Chris Dormer. I'm very proud to be the Superintendent of Schools here in the North Centenary School District, and I will be hosting today's Facilities Master Plan Town Hall meeting. Couple quick notes. This is in webinar mode. So for any of our participants, you are in listen-only mode for the informational portion of the meeting. We will be opening up for Q&A after I review a summation of the master planning process. Also want to let everybody know we do have a Spanish interpretation language channel open. So please bear with me if you notice that I'm pausing or speaking deliberately. I am trying to assist our community liaison, Vanessa Rivera, who is doing a wonderful job translating the meeting this morning. Also want to recognize district team members who are on the town hall. Mr. Leo DeRosier, our Chief Technology Officer. Jeff Cardwell, our Chief Operations Officer. Steve Willis, our Chief Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging Officer. And Jillian Williamson, our Communications Specialist for the school district. So without further ado, we are going to get started. Again, the first portion of the meeting will be a slide presentation, and then we will open it up for Q&A using the Zoom features after the informational portion of the meeting. So the first question you may have is, why are we embarking on a facilities master planning process? So North Centenary School District has, as we took a look last year and recognized that we have stabilized our finances have improved, the time was right for us to embark on trying to address all 12 of our school buildings and our district administration building. Because we have historically been an underfunded school district, we have years of deferred maintenance, and I'll give you a few examples of that. The newest building in terms of new construction in our Center Area School District is Whitehall Elementary School. That building turned 31 years old, and that's our newest construction. Our second newest building in terms of new construction is the Norristown Area High School, which just turned 50. Our most recent renovation, our large-scale construction and renovation project was East Norriton Middle School, and that project was done 18 years ago. So while we have beautiful buildings, and while they serve us very, very well, they are old buildings, and we have years of deferred maintenance because we have been an underfunded school district. So the time is right as our finances have improved and is stabilized. But this is an important moment now that the Commonwealth Court of Pennsylvania has ruled that the way that Pennsylvania funds education is unconstitutional. The court ruling is mandating that the state do something different. The Basic Education Funding Commission spent about the past year meeting with constituents and has a report recommending significant increases in state funding for districts like Norristown. For us, if the commission's report gets fully implemented, when it does over a proposed 7-year window, would result in an additional $53 million per year in funding. That type of funding can allow us to do great things with staffing increases, with program supports, but also it would allow us to undertake a facilities master plan and significantly improve each and every one of our 13 school buildings. To ensure that we stayed on track with this, we are currently in our comprehensive planning cycle. The Pennsylvania Department of Education requires that school districts develop a strategic plan, or what they call a comprehensive plan, every 3 years. We are currently in our planning process and are proposing to the board to approve our next plan, which will run through the 2024 school year through the 2027 school year, later this month. To show how serious we are about this facilities master plan, we've identified facilities in the learning environment as one of our 4 priorities in the plan. Likewise, we have established 2 goals under facilities and learning environment to make sure that this stays on our radar and make sure it is something we will follow through on as part of our comprehensive plan. You can see in goal number 7 of the total plan is to develop and implement a comprehensive facilities master plan that will be implemented over the next 10 to 15 years for the delivery of a robust educational program. And goal 8 also aligns with that to make sure that we identify the investments for a transformative infrastructure changes. So what does that mean? That means that we just don't build it to build it. That when we undertake this process, that it directly impacts teaching and learning in our classrooms, that it supports our program offerings for students, that it supports teachers teaching in the best ways possible, so that at the end of this, you can see at the very bottom, we want to make sure each and every student is life ready and future ready. So our facility master planning process, we were not going down this road alone. We partnered with Schrader Group, which is a regional architectural firm that came highly recommended that has done similar work in other school districts. The master facility planning process was broken into 3 parts: a feasibility study, an enrollment study, and the consideration of any new and best configurations of our schools. The feasibility study was conducted in the summer of 2023. It was a full evaluation of all 13 of our district buildings. It was a review of all architectural, code, structural, and engineering. So as you can imagine, this was looking at everything of everything. So lights, electric, water systems, computer systems, paint, ceiling tiles, carpets, chairs, furniture, doors, windows, roofs, HVAC systems, you name it, it looked at everything. Schrader Group did a comprehensive report for us. And actually, it's probably about a good 6 inches thick, that by building every single space in the district from, I'll use this example. There is a page that outlines like a stairwell in Cole Manor Elementary School that shows it needs updated lighting, ceiling tiles, a refresh of the floor finish, and paint. It has custodial closets with that level of detail. All of our classrooms were done at that level of detail. So as you can see, they did a very, very, very thorough look at what our needs are to renovate, modernize, and update. They then put a dollar amount to that. And as you can see, when you deferred maintenance for as long as we have, just to renovate, modernize, and update as is would cost $180 million. And Schrader's identified 30 million of those dollars as high priority phase one needs that should be addressed within the next 5 years. So I'm going to show 2 more informational slides to just give you an idea of where that $180 million adds up to. As you can see here, all 13 buildings are identified individually with estimated improvement construction costs, soft costs, which are things such as architectural fees, permitting, licensing, legal fees, and also replacing things like anything that's not bolted down, desks, chairs, furniture. And as you can see, the breakdown by building, the totals $180 million. One important note, $180 million is in today dollars, as this will be something that will take probably the next 5 to 10 years to do, just to take this as those costs escalate due to inflation, labor cost, supply costs. Just to do this would probably, at the end of it, would cost the district $200 million, again, just to renovate and modernize in our current configuration. I want to show this slide that was directly prepared by Schrader that broke down the work into priority 1, those things that they said are immediate needs that need to be done in the next, as they put it, 0 to 5 years. You can see the needs by building and the dollar amounts, although the work is not specified to what it is. However, these are things such as roofs that will come up out of warranty that require repairs, upgrading HVAC systems, upgrading fire alarm and security systems. Anything that is priority 1 is really about safety, security, life safety. And not that our current systems are ineffective. It's just they are not modern and current. $30 million in phase 1 brings everything up to current modern code in those areas. I'm going to highlight those again by building so that you see everything from the Roosevelt campus, which has the most need at over $5.5 million, all the way down to Whitehall Elementary School, again, our newest building, so it does not have those most immediate needs at a little over $380,000. So now we know, just looking at the buildings themselves, about $180 million worth of renovations are needed. Before we go any further, we need to make sure, are our school buildings sized right for now and for what the next 5 to 10 to 20 years are going to look like? So North Henry School District and Schrader Group worked with Montgomery Education Associates. Montgomery Group has done 2 past enrollment studies for us, and their accuracy was absolutely phenomenal. And as you can see from this slide, we're within 2% accuracy. I do share 1 year, they actually predicted the enrollment at Marshall Street Elementary School within 1 student. Their work is impeccable to navigate birth rates, the people moving in and out of the district and all those pieces. And it's really helped us in planning as we plan for the number of classrooms, the amount of staff. And again, now we're looking at this in terms of making sure our buildings are right-sized for now and again in the future. So the Montgomery study showed that currently right now, and you can see going out to the 2032-2033 school years, where they're projecting our enrollment. Their sweet spot is about 5 years out. And if you follow the graph, you can see that our elementary school enrollment with highlighted in the blue line, is projected to slightly decrease from where we are currently in the 2023-24 school year. Middle school will uptick a little bit, but then you can see after that 5-year window is going to start to decrease. High school enrollment is at an all-time high right now, which is the green line. Will peak next year, and then we'll start to tail off. So these numbers are important as we plan for future facility use. Schrader also then looks at what the Pennsylvania Department of Education recommends for building usage capacity. At elementary schools, they say that the building should be, the available square footage should be at 90% usage. Middle school should be at 85 to 90% usage, and high school should be at 80%. So looking at both the now and in 5 years, our elementary schools are projected to operate within that recommended 90% capacity. Our middle schools will be operating at or eventually below their recommended 85 to 90%. Our high schools right now are operating above 80% and will continue that trend as we move forward. It is noted that Roosevelt campus is currently well below their recommended 80% capacity. So from there, we know what, from the feasibility study, what needs to be repaired. From our enrollment study, that most of our buildings are okay, but the high school needs some immediate attention. We then, Schrader employed their community workshop process to say, what should we consider for how we use our buildings? They ran a 3-workshop series, and we were extremely excited and proud that we had 40 shared interest partner participants. We had members of our school board, members of our administrative, professional, and support staff. We had parents and family members and caregivers. We also had community organization and community partner representatives as part of that process. As we went through, there were 5 themes that were important to the participants that went through the workshop process. These themes guided how we looked and considered moving past the current configuration of our 13 schools right now. Those themes are: there was unanimous consent that to serve all students best, we should do more than just renovate, modernize, and keep our current buildings. We should consider additions, construction, and maybe different grade configurations at our buildings to best serve our students. To serve the high school, the committee felt that we should provide additional programming supports through facilities planning at the Norristown Area High School. They also felt strongly that Norristown Area School District students should come together before 9th grade. Under our current configuration, students go to their neighborhood elementary schools. They then feed to one of 3 different middle schools before all of our district students coming together for the first time in 9th grade. Our committee also felt strongly that 5th graders should not be in the same building as 8th graders. This is something that is necessitated right now based on the capacity of our elementary schools and the size of our middle schools. But they felt strongly that 5th graders should have a different experience than our 8th graders in terms of their schools. And there was also sentiment, number 5, that we should maintain our neighborhood elementary school model. So with that, the team went to work with Schrader, took those themes, and we built out a number of options. We were very ambitious. And as you can see, over the course of the workshop, we proposed 17 different configuration options for our district. We presented them, we reviewed them, we had much discussion, and we continually modified. We worked through 17 different ways that we could utilize our schools. At the end of our workshop, we settled on what are our current considerations. It is bold and quite different than what we are doing now in our 13 buildings that are either K4, 5-8, and 9-12. I'm calling this a bold reconfiguration proposal. And with it came not just modernization and renovation, but also additions and new construction. That pushes the price from $180 million to nearly $330 million. This is not something that we can and should as a district take on lightly. which is exactly why we are doing this town hall process. We want to hear from our constituents. We want to share what this group feels would be a bold reconfiguration, but most importantly, will best serve our students. I can't take a recommendation of that magnitude to the board without, number one, making sure we have community support, and second, making sure we find ways to minimize the impact to taxpayers. We are hopeful that the governor's proposal and the commission report for that additional money to come to Norristown will more than pay for this project and the debt service that we would incur. But we are going to be deliberate, we're going to be intentional. And again, most importantly, we want to make sure the model's a good one before we even look at going down the financing route. So I want to share the 9 configurations with you now. Consideration number 1, to construct a new addition onto the Norristown Area High School that would house a dedicated wing for a 9th grade academy where the 9th grade students would receive all core subject classes. We would also complete all other identified renovations at Norristown Area High School. Building an addition would relieve the large population we have out there with extra space. It would provide a more supportive learning experience for 9th grade and would, again, would benefit all of our students with more spaces and just a completely new renovation in our building. The addition with the renovations adds about $50 million to the cost of our total projects. Consideration number 2, consider relocating the Roosevelt campus programs to the current new wing, not the new wing we would build, but the new wing that is currently at Norristown Area High School, and operate Roosevelt as a school within a school. The reason for this consideration would allow Roosevelt students to access more elective and extracurricular opportunities that they do not currently have, being in a separate school and a separate location. Consideration numbers 3 and 4 will look at our middle schools. Consideration 3, construct a new addition onto Eisenhower Science and Technology Leadership Academy. Complete all other renovations at Eisenhower. However, with the addition, we would then make Eisenhower the 5th and 6th grade center for the entire school district. So this accomplishes 2 of our themes. Number 1, it would allow all of our district students to come together before 9th grade, and it would separate our 5th graders programmatically from our 8th graders. Consideration number 4 would be to put on a substantial addition to East Norriton Middle School to complete all the other renovations at East Norriton, and East Norriton would become the 7th and 8th grade center for Norristown Area School District. Number 5, we would keep our neighborhood school model for our elementary schools. However, all of our elementary schools would be reconfigured to K4. To do this would require a readjustment of all attendance zones. Consideration number 5, we would maintain Cole Manor, Davenport, Hancock, Marshall Street, Paul Fly, and Whitehall as K4 elementary schools as newly renovated buildings, getting all the things that have been identified as part of Schrader's feasibility study. The 7th elementary school would be a conversion of the current Bloxon Middle School to a comprehensive K4 elementary school. We would most likely build this as somewhere between a 500 and 600 student elementary school. With the redistricting, it would be right-sized. To accomplish that, we would consider one of 2 options. Option A would be to renovate the existing Bloxon building and complete the necessary construction to convert it into a smaller elementary school. Option B would be to just build a brand new Bloxon Elementary School on the same school property out back. A quick note, option B, the new construction, could cost upwards of $25 million additional dollars to turn Bloxon from its current building to a new elementary school. It should be noted the current Bloxon Middle School has, while it is a beautiful building, it does have its challenges. Number 1, the building is about to turn 100 years old in 2025. And second, the current Bloxon Middle School has several issues with Americans with Disabilities Act compliance. So the cost of renovation would be significant, and it may be beneficial to consider just building a new elementary school building if we move forward with consideration number 7. We wouldn't abandon the Musselman Learning Center, but we would convert it under consideration number 8 to make it an English language newcomer center for the district. The ELNC would provide intensive supports to new enrolled English learner students identified as newcomers and beginners. This would be a site where they would go, they would receive all of their core education, but it would do it in a supportive way that would also hopefully help accelerate their language acquisition before transitioning back to their home school. Lastly, number 9 would be to complete the renovations at Roosevelt and to consider moving the district administration to that site. This would provide much needed additional space for administrative operations as we've outgrown the administration building, and would make the administration center more accessible to the community on Markley Street, right there in the heart of Norristown. I'm sure you felt like you were just drinking from a fire hose with all of that information. So with that, we're now going to transition to the town hall portion. We are going to make available a 1-page summary sheet of this that we'll happily share on our website or can email to you after today's session. But I am going to stop my screen share. Mr. DeRosie, I want to see if you are able to pull Mrs. Rivera back in.
I got Ms. Rivera de nuevo.
Ms. Rivera, good news. We can hear you and you are back.
Okay, glad to be back.
Excellent. Excellent. So at this time, I want to open it up. If any of our attendees have any questions or comments or want to open up for discussion, down in the tools, if you would use the raised hand function, and at that point, I can unmute your microphone and allow you to make some comments.
All right, my turn. Buenas tardes. Vamos a abrir el piso para las personas que tengan alguna pregunta. Si utilizan la opción de levantar la mano, podemos abrir sus micrófonos para que hagan las preguntas adecuadas en español. Gracias.
Also want to let our attendees know, if you don't want to speak up, there is a Q&A button where you can type comments into the box that we would be able to respond to.
También quiero dejarles saber a las personas que están presentes con nosotros, si no quieren hablar directamente, pueden poner sus preguntas en la caja donde pueden escribir y nosotros podemos responderles por escrito.
So I'm going to say we either did such a good job that there's no questions, or people need some additional time to think about this.
Entonces quiero pensar que hicimos un gran trabajo al contestar todas las preguntas, o las personas están tomándose su tiempo para hacer una buena pregunta.
Well, if we have no questions, I'm not going to belabor our town hall any longer. So I want to thank everybody that joined us today via Zoom. Hopefully you learned some good information as part of our presentation today.
Entonces no voy a demorarlos más, voy a dar por terminada nuestra sesión de Junta de Ayuntamiento por vía Zoom. Espero que hayan recibido buena información con respecto al plan que tenemos para el distrito.
I would invite anybody that has feedback to either shoot me an email or you are welcome to attend any of our remaining town hall sessions that are scheduled over the next coming weeks.
Quiero invitar a cualquier persona que tenga alguna opinión a enviarme un correo electrónico o que asista a las siguientes reuniones que tenemos de ayuntamiento en las siguientes programadas para las siguientes semanas.
If there's any additional information that you need, you can always visit the district website.
Y si tienen alguna información adicional, pues siempre pueden visitar el sitio web de Norristown.
So with that, we want to bring our town hall to a close. I want to thank everyone for attending and wish everybody a great day.
Ok, y con eso cerramos y concluimos la junta de ayuntamiento y les deseamos a todos un muy buen día.
Have a great day, everybody. I'm going to stop the recording.